This is a tax foreclosure auction, so a little different than we're normally used to. This is actually the city foreclosing on their tax lien after taking it for tax taking. So this is going to be a little different. So we don't have to worry about any bank. They are wiped away already. So you don't, and you also don't have to worry about back taxes, which, you know, that's one of the typically due diligence are. But there's still some other things to be mindful of, and we're going to go over that today in this little video here. Tax taking, there's two different types of tax taking: tax certificate, and then there's also tax deed. In this case, where we are right now, this is a tax deed, and so you're at the auction, you're not buying the certificate or the right to foreclose. You're looking to actually take title of the property. Now, you want to look into your state, your city, because each one might do it a little differently. You want to know the nuances and which type you're bidding on, because it does make a big difference. Because with tax certificate, you might have to wait a while till you can actually foreclose. Now, you do collect interest, and a lot of people online talk about these, and oh wow, you can make 16% return on your money. Oh my God, da, da, da. Well, that's yes, that's if they actually pay. If they never actually pay the taxes, then guess what? You take the property back. So that could be also your goal if you're looking like us to acquire more property. But everyone's kind of a little different. This one is a tax deed state, so you'll have the foreclosure auction, and then we actually take title to the property. And now there are some things to be mindful of, like I said earlier. So one of the biggest things with tax title take property is the right of redemption. And so obviously people don't want to, the cities not looking to take back properties. And so there is a right of redemption. That means someone can come back and pay all the back taxes, typically fees and interest and stuff like that, and then they reclaim the property. Now, every place might do it a little differently. There's a right of redemption for both tax certificate and tax deed, but you want to know how that works and what the right of redemption. Some of it might be 6 months, some might be a year. It might be from the auction. It might be from when they actually did the tax taking and when it finalized that. So you want to kind of know a little bit more what that actually is, because the problem with that and where it comes into play for something like this, which needs a crap load of work, like I'm talking a shitload of work. Now, if the part of the redemption is if you go and fix this property up, take all your time, put a lot of money into it, and someone comes and redeems it one day before the redemption period is up, guess what? You are SOL, shit out of luck, for all that money you sunk in. They just have to pay back taxes. They don't have to pay what you paid there. So really talk to a lawyer, talk to your title company, whatever it is, to make sure you understand what you're bidding, what you're going to be able to do with the property. And you might just need to sit on the property for 6 months, a year, who knows? It really depends on the laws in your state and the city and how it's being handled. But you're going to want to know that, because you don't want to get into a tax situation or a renovation, then you're just having a bunch of money put into it and then you lose everything and someone else gets a brand new house. That would suck. So for instance, like this one, we still have to wait about a month till the redemption is done. So by the time we close, if we win, that would be all done. So no big deal. The last one too was about that. So we went to part of our due diligence phase. We went and looked at when the tax taking happened and what the laws were for each one of those. Talking of course to our lawyer and making sure we got good advice and double checking and sometimes triple checking to make sure, because sometimes you get different answers from different lawyers. But otherwise, like other foreclosures, this one is happening at the property. The last one we were just at earlier was actually at the town hall, and so it can be handled different ways. You're going to have other bidders, and the city might start at a higher number. The auctioneer might then kind of start bringing it down and then go up from there. But like at least you just want to do your due diligence, have a number in mind, because that is always the key here, is come in with a number. And so now now you know about the redemption, maybe you need to have a longer holding costs. You're going to want to obviously rehab budget this one. This is a tear down probably, and basically build a brand new house, so a whole new construction rehab there. In this case also, so other costs that can come with this is there's a 5% premium to the town, $5,000, actually not 5%, $5,000 premium to the town for the last one we were at, and 8% to the auctioneer. So that's 8% of the winning bid. So you bid $100,000, that's for your winning bid. You're paying $8,000 on top of that to the auctioneer. and then also the $5,000. So earlier, someone bid and won the school for $400,000. They had to pay 8% on that, so that was another $32,000 plus the $5,000 to the city on top of the $400,000 that they won it for. Way too rich for my blood. That school needed, I was estimating it needed like $500,000 work, plus needed elevator, all up to code, sprinkler system. I don't know what the guy's plan was, but that's crazy. There's actually a lot of bidders here today. So these are things, and unfortunately, I think some of these bidders are not used to a tax auction, and so they have different ideas. And I've seen too many people, like I said, doing the work and not actually, where they really should have waited. Now, there is some risk reward with that, and the chance of people tending to come back, especially on a dilapidated house like that, that's clearly been vacant for some time, where I almost fell in the house, probably not gonna happen. I think if there's anything else you guys can know about tax auctions, I mean, that's really the majority of it, but you really wanna kind of take your time, talk to a lawyer that focuses on tax taking and stuff like that, and maybe getting really into the nuances of it there, and so you can really learn from them. But yeah, that's kind of what we got there. So do your due diligence, take your time, make sure you don't get stuck holding the bag, and when you renovate a property and someone comes in and pays off the taxes, and then you're SOL. That's my big takeaway home for this. Looks like the auctioneer's showing up soon. But look at that. Tiny little house. I mean, filled with trash. Lots of rot. This is just, you're not saving this house. Look at that. Oof. Crazy. Already fell in right there. That's crazy. So spongy. I'm not even gonna chance it. House is right there. It also comes, if you look at the GIS map, comes with this tiny little sliver. It's not buildable. The neighbor kind of thinks it's theirs, but it's not. There's a thing called adverse possession, but it's only been 13 years, so that does not come into play. But once again, part of your due diligence on these tax auctions, or any auction for that matter.
This property is going to be sold to a third party today. It's an absolute auction. It will be sold regardless of price. Now's your opportunity, because tomorrow it's going to be a lot more money. 65, thank you, and 70,000. Going once, twice at 65,000 and $70,000 now. Ladies and gentlemen, declare the property sold for $65,000. Thank you all very much.
Congrats. Okay, so this was an absolute auction. What does that mean? That means whatever price gets bid, even if it's just $1, it's going for that price. Absolute auctions can be great, especially if people don't show up. With this, there being a lot of bidders, it went for a high price. But absolute auctions, it means it goes no matter what the price is, that's the price it's going for. Now, mind you, there might be assessments, like there was a tax assessment on this one, as well as a premium. But at $1, 10%, 10 cents, I'd be fine with that.
If you want to learn more about buying foreclosure properties, make sure to follow us and pick up a copy of our book, Foreclosures Unlocked.